Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I have a quick tea card to share with you today. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's Hello QT stamp set, their window card matte die, their girl gnome dies, their gnome dies tea add-ons, and I'm using P13 stamping pad skin tones from Jaded Blossom store, Doodlebugs gingham linen in 6-inch, their Candy Stripe and Sprinkles in 6-inch, and the Catherine Pooler Daily Grind 6-inch pad, along with Distress Wood Grain paper from Tim Holtz. And I did put this little girl together and all of her accessories on the gnome die tea add-ons assembly video, so check that out. And I'm going to use all these pieces on a card. Okay, so first I have a piece of paper tray ink cardstock, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches. Make an A2 size vertical fold card. And I cut a piece of this Catherine Pooler paper, 1/16 of an inch smaller than an A2 size card front. And I'm using my ATG tape and a little bit of Bearly Art glue around the edge to stick everything down. So I'm using this fun plaid. And I'm just going to line that up. There's going to be a hair of a border around the edge of this card. So, stick that down. There we go. Now I'm going to use a 1-inch strip from the same pad from Catherine Pooler. Just has little teacups all over it. And I'm going to add that to the inside, about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. I'm working on a Stampin' Up! Pad kind of as usual. I'm going to cut off the overhang with a pair of scissors. There we go. And I'm just using that Teflon bone folder just to enforce the fold. So I did go ahead and I cut out this window card mat die with that, what is it called? Distress Wood Grain cardstock from Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to glue it down with some Bearly Art glue. I'll center that on my background paper using my reverse tweezers just to get my fingers out of the way. The nice thing about using glue is you've got a little bit of wiggle time to get it in place. And I'm just sticking that down. And then I will use an acrylic block just to make sure it dries nice and flat. There we are. Okay, so after it dried, I am going to use these little accessories from the Gnome Die Tea Add-ons assembly video, so check that out. I did put them together with the little hands, but I'm only going to have her holding one of the items. All the rest, I'm going to remove those little hands, and I'm just going to use them as accessories on the front of my card. So I'm just going to trim off those extra hands. There we go. And like I said, everything that I use to assemble all this stuff will be listed on my blog. So I'm just trimming off that overhang there and the little, spots for the hands. There we go. And I just love this set. It is super cute and fun. And I'm a tea drinker. I don't drink coffee, so it's perfect for me. My favorite is actually David's tea. Pumpkin chai, if you must know. Sometimes chocolate chili chai, but I really like pumpkin chai. So there we go. I'm just using that adhesive remover just to get off any leftover sticky from the dimensionals that I used to pop up the hands. Okay, so next I did go ahead and I cut out that window pane die using Paper Tray Ink Aqua Mist cardstock, and I'm going to fill in the little windows with that Aqua Mist. I find it matches quite well with that Catherine Pooler Daily Grind 6-inch pad, and then with whatever else I have going on this card. So I'm just going to glue those pieces down with some Bearly Art glue. There we go. Using my tweezers to get them in place. There we are. And then we will start creating this card. So like I said, you can watch me put all of the Gnome Tea add-ons in the assembly video. So there we go. I'm using my Misty, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the front of my card. Using that Hello QT stamp set. So it says for my best tea, right? And I'll be stamping that in one of these little window panes because I kind of have a layout in my mind set. There we go. And isn't that cute? Now on the inside, I'm going to stamp the sentiment, you, me, and a cup of tea. And the word happy birthday. I didn't show you this at the beginning. This is the So Many Birthdays 2 stamp set. Jaded Blossom has a bunch of these stamp sets. They're awesome. They have a bunch of different fonts. So you could use make your little happy birthday sentiment look a bunch of different ways. Okay, so I'm going to stamp those 2 sentiments on the inside of my card. You saw that I used a misty corner to get that happy birthday straight. There we are using that same VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. And there we go. So you, me, and a cup of tea, happy birthday. So I'm going to be using a little bit of score tape on the back of this little gnome. I had my 1/8 inch score tape sitting on my desk, so I thought I'm just going to use that quickly. So I'm just covering the back of the gnome in that. And I will pull off my release papers and then get her stuck down in the correct place. So just peeling off all of these little papers. And then we will have a super cute little gnome. With all of the assembly videos that I do, I don't use all of those gnomes, and I am drowning in gnomes and accessories. So I'm trying to work my way through my pile and use them up. So there is my cute little girl. Her little hat is from that Daily Grind 6-inch pad. And then her dress is from Candy Stripe and Sprinkles from Doodlebug in pink. Her hair is dark chocolate cardstock from Paper Tray ink. So now I'm going to be adding on my little tea bag. That is white cardstock from Paper Tray ink and gingham linen cardstock from Doodlebug. And then there's a little layer of vellum on that as well. This next one is cut from Recollection Silver Mirror cardstock, American Crafts black cardstock, and then the same Aqua Mist cardstock that I used on the little backgrounds. And then I'm going to add in this little teacup that was cut from gingham linen and Paper Tray ink black cardstock and Paper Tray ink dark chocolate cardstock and Paper Tray ink white cardstock. So there is the sort of the look. So I'm just going to weight down those images. So now I'm pulling out some shape sprinkles from Doodlebug. These are the Lots of Love and the Winter Hugs. And I'm just going to be adding these little mini hearts here and there in kind of like this hot pink that kind of matches the pink that's going on and this kind of aqua color. There we go. And I'm just going to be adding them here and there, one in the center of the teacup. And then there are some little white hearts that I'm going to add on, kind of like steam coming out of that kettle. There we go. So adding them on as carefully as I can. Oops, there. And I just think it's super cute. I'm going to add a few more little hearts because why not, right? Another thing that I don't use enough of are my little shape sprinkles from Doodlebug. I have a lot of them. I've got to make an effort to use these guys up. And there we go. Just counting to see if I have an odd number because that bugs me. There we go. And I'm going to add one more up above my little tea bag. There we are. Now I've got to give her her little teapot to hold in a second here. Once I get that in place, and now I'm going to add the teapot that was cut from gingham linen cardstock from Doodlebug. I did use a secure white jelly roll pen and a number 10 to add a highlight and Recollection Silver Mirror cardstock for the knob on top. And I'm just going to pop that teapot up with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And then there we go. Isn't she sweet? And I'm going to add a little hot pink heart on the teapot as well so it matches the cup. And there we go. Isn't that cute? And I just think it turned out adorable. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, Be Inspired by the Team, the Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on these amazing products. And thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.